Hey, it's Glenn, and welcome back to another episode of The Books I Love. Not the books I like, not the books I approve of, but the books I love. And these videos, if you haven't seen one before, they're generally pretty short. These aren't full-on book reviews. I don't usually discuss much of the plot, but sometimes I do. I mean, in this one, I'm pretty much it's so short that it's nigh impossible to not discuss the plot. Um, but it's more about my relationship to the book and or just why I love this book. And this month's episode is going to be all about Where the Wild Things Are by Maurice Sendak. So this book, I love this book. Which should go without saying, but and weirdly, like the thing about Sindak, and I just love Sindak, man, he's so good. He's an author, he's an illustrator, his drawings are fantastic. There's books that he didn't write that he illustrated that I also love, which, may get a spotlight here at some point. But this one in particular, weirdly, I think the only books I had as an actual child growing up, because it's a picture book, which we generally consider to be children's books, or at least when we're organizing libraries, they're children's books. But the only one I had like some of the Little Bear books that he illustrated, but he didn't write them. I didn't have any of I had a lot of books as a little kid, but I didn't have any Maurice Sendak authored books like Where the Wild Things Are. I was familiar with this book. It had been read to me, but I didn't really connect with it and fall utterly in love with it until I was an adult. And I'm not even sure why that is. I just did. So, but the things I love about this book, it's honestly like, a lot of the books I talk about on here, I can say something about my life that I connected with it, but this one, it just resonated with me and always has. Like, Maurice Sendak, and I was talking about categorizing things as children's books. He didn't write children's books. He just wrote stories. They happen to be marketed as children's books, but I love that because I'm the same way. Like not that I don't write what would be considered children's books. But I don't really comprehend like the actual distinction. Like in my own library, I have different sections. None of them are children's books. Picture books and such, like Where the Wild Things Are, would just be in the fiction section because, it's for all ages. I don't really prescribe to the idea that some stories are just for children or some stories are just for the adults. It depends on the child, it depends on the adult. And I mean, that's one of the things I absolutely love about Sindak is he agrees. And I love the way he writes children. It's very real. It's very relatable. It's not sugar coated. It's not saccharine sweet garbage. It's it's not cutesy. It's just like he writes about little assholes. Like Max in this book is a little asshole who pisses off his mom. And I mean it's just so real. He's a kid who gets in trouble. That's what this book is all about. And it's so short, but I feel like the points it makes are what really makes it connect with me that this kid, he's running around his house dressed like a wolf and just raising hell, and his mom calls him a wild thing, sends him off to bed without supper. That, I mean, that's a key point. He's going to bed without supper. And, he gets in his room and he just starts imagining things. Um, perhaps he goes to sleep and has a vivid dream about just, his room becomes a forest. He gets in a boat, sails across the ocean to the place where the wild things are. And like to me, here is what it's all about. It's all about, I mean, it's so like, okay, there's so many layers to this book if you really look at it, which is shocking for how small it is. But like one of the big themes is kind of facing your fears, facing down the people who are threatening you, which is the first thing he does when he gets to this island full of monsters. He just stares them down and is kind of like, do something. And they're like, okay, we will do something. We'll make you our king because if you're not scared of us, we're scared of you. And so then, he has a good time with the monsters, but, it's kind of interesting to me because it's sort of like he's on the verge of perpetuating cycles of abuse. Because at one point, their little party is over, so he sends them to bed. All the wild things, you're going to bed now without supper. Had they done anything wrong? I don't know. But he got sent to bed without supper, so he's passing it on. And then, so that's another kind of layer is that the way that parents treat children informs the way that children treat others as they grow up. And so it makes the final line in the whole book so much more powerful when you look at it that way. Because Max, he starts feeling lonely. He wants to go somewhere where someone really loves him and where there's good food to eat. So he gets back in his boat, sails back to his room, which slowly turns back into his room from the forest it had become. And like honestly, to me, this is what the book is about. Because when he's done with his adventure, having gotten in trouble, he looks on his little nightstand or whatever, and there's his dinner, and it's still hot. So, it's kind of like we've reversed that perpetuating cycles of abuse because we've erased the potential abuse of starving your children. And I mean, there are worse punishments, honestly, in my opinion. I'm not saying that Max's parents, his mother was an abusive monster, but because she absolutely was not, and that's the point. It's like the other really strong message in this picture book is that, if you're a little asshole when you're a child and you get in trouble and your parents punish you for it, that doesn't mean they don't still love you, you know? Because his mother got mad, sent him to bed without supper, perhaps an overreaction on her part as you can tell, like from her own perspective, that would have been an overreaction on her part because, while Max is having his adventure, perhaps dreaming in his bed, his mother comes in and sets his food out for him, hot and ready to eat, and the smell of it is probably what woke him up. Because, yeah, he got on her nerves, he got in trouble, he got punished, sent to his room, but the message of that final line is that his mother still loved him, and his mother could not bear to send her child to bed without dinner for real. So, man, I love this book. And it's weird that I can't tell you why it resonates with me so much, or it did as an adult more than as a child. But I mean, that's pretty much it. I told you, short videos. So that's why I love Where the Wild Things Are, because it's just a beautiful story and it's very, it's very short, but it is a very real depiction of a child's experience, as are so many of the works of Maurice Sendak. So, highly recommend. Meanwhile, if you want to check out my writing, short stories, novels, and such, you can go to my author websites, which some days is working, some days it's not. But if you want to roll the dice and see if you can get there, it is glensladeClarkJr.com. And if you like this video in particular, you want to leave a reaction, help us out in the algorithm a bit. Um, if you are so kind and so inclined, you can do that. Leave a comment. Let me know if you've read this book. Let me know some other books that you love if I haven't talked about them. I like books. I like getting new suggestions. So that's it for this month's The Books I Love, and I will talk to y'all next time.